Miss Atwood?
Notice of this meeting was given to all board members and associates in a meeting notice dated November 9th, 2022. Furthermore, on that date, a copy of such notice was sent to the Times, the Trentonian, and the clerk of the Township of Hamilton. It was also posted on the bulletin board at the entrance to the boardroom in the Hamilton Square Administrative Building. Please rise to the flag salute.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Gonzalez,
Here.
Ms. Harvey. Here. Mr. Kanka, Ms. Kelly. Here. Dr. McSheen,
Here.
Ms. Thornton. Here. Mr. Salantano,
Here.
Dr. Farrar,
Here,
Ms. Lombardo.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Can I get a motion to enter into exec?
so moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, motion passes.
Whereas NJSA 10:4-13 requires adoption of a resolution of the board to go into executive session, be it resolved that the board pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act, New Jersey, Title 18A, and the Hamilton Township Board of Education Bylaw number 0166, hereby enters executive session to discuss a matter involving student matters, labor matters, human resource matters, matters falling under the attorney-client privilege. Be it further resolved that the minutes of this executive session shall be made public following formal action by the board and/or at the conclusion of any investigations, due process proceeding, or litigation, so long as not prohibited by law and so long as the need for maintaining confidentiality no longer exists.
Starting with the awards or your super? We're gonna start out with our HEF awards. Dr. Rocco?
Good evening, everybody, and thank you for coming tonight. We want to start with our awards, and we want to start by celebrating. So we have our Education Foundation Awards, and the HEF has always been very generous with us with grants. A little bit about the HEF. They've proudly celebrated their 26th year. I apologize, I have to put my glasses on. 26 year of service to the district, and they've donated more than $430,000 through grants, scholarships, and special projects. The work of HEF recognizes the need to establish mutually beneficial relationships among our local business community, political leaders, private citizens, school administrators, teachers, staff, parents, and students. As an independent entity, the HEF is a conduit for funding for the enhancement of public education. The officers, Deborah Von Gotten is our president, Jack Blair is our first vice president, Suzanne Fernero is the treasurer, and Angie Belmont is the secretary. And we have tonight a member of HEF who we also know as our CEO of the Hamilton Area YMCA, Diana Zita, who is here to present some awards. So Diana, I'd like to invite you up to the microphone.
Good evening, everyone. So I was going to talk a little bit about HEF, but Dr. Rocker stole my thunder, so I'm just going to move on and go to the awards. But again, we do appreciate the partnership we have with the school board and with the teachers in each district, because honestly, it's a wonderful partnership to be able to do things for our students in this township. So thank you. Without further ado, I will present the awards.
I'm going to come up and help you. I'll hold it for you.
Oh, thank you.
She's behind Janice Cloud.
Okay, all right. The first award, Julia Vellucci.
We'll get a big one at the end.
Stephanie Giunta. Aaron Thien. Jennifer Barker. Wendy Ballant. William Leonardo. Jessica Williver. And Matthew Koppenhaber.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Or can we do one together with Diana?
Never did this before.
Thanks.
Want to know who they are.
Thank you. And Diana, thank you for coming out tonight, and thank you for the work that you do with the YMCA. All right, I'll transition over to the superintendent's report. I have a number of congratulations on behalf of the board and my administration for a lot of really great things happening around the district. First, Reynolds Middle School's Marketplace Cafe had its grand opening last week. It was a wonderful experience. Congratulations to Nottingham cheerleaders on their CVC championship. Congratulations to Steinert's cheerleaders on their CVC championship. Congratulations to Hamilton West cheerleaders for their winning third place in their division and first as most spirited. Congratulations to our middle school track teams who competed against each other last Saturday at Steiner's track. It was a wonderful turnout by parents and students. Just a great day out there. It was cold Saturday morning, but the students were out there participating. There was a lot of enthusiasm and excitement. A number of years ago, we brought back inter-school sports between our three middle schools, and it has been very successful for our students. Lots of them participate in the fall, winter, and spring, and we're hoping to expand that as we move forward. I'd like to also congratulate Nottingham and Steiner High Schools for participating in TCNJ's Honors Wind Ensembles, and also congratulations to Steiner's Choir for attending the TCNJ Honors Festival Choir. Congratulations out to Nottingham's marching band, who placed fourth in their division, second in percussion, and beat their state champion score with an 89.5 at their state competition. And just a note on our three high school bands. They had a great competition season this year, and they brought home a lot of hardware. They won a lot, they placed a lot, and congratulations to all of them. Congratulations to Steinert's debate team for winning the CVC championship, and congratulations to West's Gardening Club for being recognized for their efforts on ABC 6 News. So a lot of great things happening in our district over the last month and a half. A reminder to all of our parents that this Wednesday is a one-session day. And what that means as a one-session day is that we will dismiss early. The dismissal times are as follows. For high school, dismissal at 12:04 p.m., middle school at 12:45 p.m., elementary school at 1:15 p.m. And this is particularly important for our elementary families. Those buses are going to be dropping off children between 1:20, 1:25, 1:30, 1:45. So please tell your neighbors, talk to your neighbors about early dismissal, just to make sure everybody knows the dismissal times. Every time during Thanksgiving break, we end up with a student or two who is not able to be dropped off. So we just want to get the word out to our community about our early dismissal times. Also, please see our website and social media feeds for images of the beautiful new mural at Grace Middle School. It was done by an artist who brought together images of our students within the name of the school. The district had a very productive in-service day on Tuesday, November 8th. In addition to scheduled sessions by department supervisors, the Office of Curriculum and Instruction offered over 20 choice sessions. We're also pleased to announce that close to 1,000 registrations were processed for choice sessions on that day. So I also want to end with a couple items here. Thank you to our many schools, parents, volunteers, and public who did food drives over the last few weeks so families in our communities can enjoy a Thanksgiving holiday. To make sure that our families can enjoy a Thanksgiving holiday, I have to give out a huge thank you to DePaulo Turkey Farm. Each year they donate to our schools. This year they donated 5 turkeys to each of our schools. This will help 120 of our families have a happy Thanksgiving. So I just want to give them a round of applause. And finally, I want to thank our school community for all their hard work, and I want to wish all of you a happy Thanksgiving, and thank you for what you do to make our school district successful.
Thank you. If any members of the Board of Education have anything? Christina?
I have an update from the New Jersey School Boards Convention.
Pull a little bit closer.
So I attended the New Jersey School Boards Convention with Dr. McSheen, as well as members of the administration, including Dr. Rocco, Dr. Altabello, Ms. Audino, Ms. Atwood, Mr. Scotto, and Mr. O'Boyle. And we learned some valuable things, I think, and just wanted to report back. There were several programs that were helpful to the district. I mentioned a PBSI New Jersey program that would help with discipline in schools to help both positive reinforcement and training teachers. It's a program that is free, put on by the Department of Education. So I provided information on how the district can get involved in that. I was happy also to hear that a lot of the trainings I went to, we already do. For instance, funding issues and grant issues, everything that I shared with Mrs. Atwood, she said we already do it. So that's great. And then there were cybersecurity platforms that I mentioned the tips that they gave, and Mr. O'Boyle said, oh no, we've been doing that. So it's good to see that the district is in good shape with our administration. There was also issues that have been come up if you've attended past board meetings as to book issues and First Amendment right issues. So Dr. McSheen and Mr. Scotto and I attended a course with a board member and librarian from Union County, Alyssa Malspina, who gave us tips. And her suggestion is that our policies are basically, we can amend our policy to be consistent with parents' rights to opt out. So that was something that also in governance 3 that I attended as my board training said that it's important to include parents in the district so that I know that we've had open communication with the public, so I encourage parents still to send their comments as to issues. I had proposed a policy at a meeting that went to committee, and based upon what I learned at the convention, I actually was going to change that policy so that it's more consistent and addresses certain issues that members of the public have raised to me. Just today, I got a letter from the first vice president of the Mercer County Education Association, Daniel Siegel. And so I think this revised policy addresses sort of the issues that have been raised. I just thought it important to note that while it's important to have students access to materials, the letter also states families can decide what books are allowed in their homes. So I think that this proposal addresses concerns that parents have raised to me with the original proposal. So I would just like to read it for the board, and I've asked the committee to look at it, and we've asked for legal counsel to review it. So to the end of policy 2530, it would add any parent or guardian may restrict any resource material for the parent or guardian's own minor child by sending a formal letter explaining the restriction, including the name and author and the reason for the restriction. To the extent an administrator believes restricting access to a particular resource material violates any student's rights under the federal or New Jersey Constitution, any federal or state statute, or any regulation, including but not limited to the law against discrimination, then the student shall have access to the material despite the parent's written objection. So I think that raises concerns over certain statutes that apply, and it also notes the parent's right to determine what books are accessible by their own minor child.
Thank you.
Do you want me to do the committee report later?
What?
The committee report goes later?
Yeah, later. Mhm. Who else? Dr. Farrar?
Well, the Hamilton Township and the schools are two different entities and two forms of government. Sometimes our missions intersect. And I learned recently that such is the case with a grant that the township received, which provides assemblies for the school district. The state's New Jersey Clean Communities program supports the efforts of recycling in communities around the state. And this year, Jim Wyroth I think, or Y Ruff, I think it is, from the Hamilton Department of Public Works, who oversees the Clean Communities program here in the township, secured a state grant in the amount of $194,000. And some of that money pays for a magician, Bill Kerwood, to present his program called The Magic of Recycling. The program is free to the district. It's available to any of our 17 elementary schools. Some of you may have students who have come home to talk about it. He's already been at Greenwood, Yardville Heights, and University Heights, and he will be presenting at McGalliard in December. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, seeing none, we're gonna move on to, our board reps are not here. We skipped it. Dr. Octobello, you want to do the SSDS presentation? You have to move, oh no. Sorry, I didn't know you're supposed to sit up here. Dr. Artabello,
Yes.
just hold off 1 second, because our board reps are here. They're hiding in the back. Listen, if we have to sit up here, so do you three. We'll let you get done quick, so in case you want to go. Don't know where they put you guys. Good. Okay, first we'll start with Tori from Nottingham High School.
Okay, so here are some of the things that have happened at Nottingham since the last board meeting. Our football season ended with a record of 5-3. We have fortunately lost to Camden in our first playoff game. We ended October with our annual North Star Halloween party, where our cafeteria was packed with trick-or-treaters from many of our surrounding elementary schools. Student members of Key Club, National Honor Society, and others helped out with this amazing community event. Play auditions were just held this past week for The Lightning Thief. The cast lists and set lists were also put out this past Friday. There was a National Honor Society induction on Wednesday. The officers and students did a really great job. Also, the National Honor Society and Key Club participated in a Thanksgiving food drive from November 2nd to November 16th. Like Dr. Rocco said, our cheerleaders competed on November 13th and brought home 2 first places and a special best dance award. And the marching band competed at nationals on November 5th and were awarded 4th place. The debate team ended with an impressive record of 5-2. Our junior senior social will be held on December 3rd at Cooper's Riverview. We plan for this to be an exciting event. Winter sports signups have also been posted in the class's Google Classrooms. This Wednesday, we will be having a school spirit day. Students and faculty will be participating in Jersey Day, where you can wear your favorite jersey from any sports team. December 1st is the academic awards ceremony. Sophomores and juniors will have a ceremony during the school day, and seniors will participate in a ceremony at 6. All parents and guardians are welcome to attend. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next we have Zaria from West. Zaria? Is that right? Zaria?
Yeah.
Sorry. I'll get it right. I promise.
Bless you.
Hello, everyone. Currently happening at West, we had a National Honor Society volleyball tournament food drive that happened on November 16th. We had over, I think, 200 pounds of food donated for this volleyball tournament. And then we had our haunted house that was put together by student government. Over 500 people were attended. We had different clubs like Key Club, National Honor Society, and we had Talented 10th, all these different clubs put together, different rooms. And then we have Spirit Week currently going on. We had Friday as Y2K 2000s Day. Monday, today was Character/Celebrity Day. Tuesday, tomorrow is Bikers versus Surfers. And then Wednesday is Class Color Day. On Thanksgiving, we have our Thanksgiving Day game, which is happening against Steiner at Steiner on 11/24 at 10:30. As Dr. Rocco said, we had Mr. Pensack and the Garden Club on the Channel 6 News about their outdoor classroom space in the courtyard. And then we have our National Honor Society induction on December 7th.
Thank you. And we have Aaron from Steiner High School.
Hello, my name is Erin from Steiner. A little
Tina.
update for us.
There you go.
As Dr. Rocco had mentioned, the choir attended the TCNJ's Honor Festival Choir. Wait. Sorry. We have Spirit Week going on from 11/16 to 11/23. We have days such as Pajama Day, Adam Sandler Day, Sports Day, Class Color Day, Anything But a Backpack Day, and School Spirit. Wacky Races was held on 11/17. It was a tight race with the juniors, but of course the seniors won. The debate team and the cheerleaders were CVC champions, first place. We have a Thanksgiving Day game, Steiner versus West, a home game on the Steiner field. We have a Thanksgiving Day food drive. It's still currently going on, so if you didn't want to have any donations, you can drop it off at the Steiner cafeteria at any time. We have a pep rally on November 23rd. And also the second edition Spartan Sentinel was released. So you guys can find that online if you were interested in keeping any updates on us. The winter sports are gearing up. Basketball tryouts were today after school. We also had a BSU trip to an African-American museum in Philly, which was a great turnout, a lot of participants. There's also, our high school Halloween trick or treat throughout the school. Over 250 kids attended. It was a great turnout, lots of videos. If you want to check our website or our social media accounts, you will be able to find the videos and the costumes. And we also had a Pumpkins for Pigs. The environmental science had a competition. We are still waiting the results where you go around, pick up plastic bags. It wasn't too much because, as you know, the New Jersey mandate, we are not allowed to use plastic bags, but we were still trying to collect whatever we could. And yeah, we're still waiting results. And that is our update for today.
Thank you. So funny though, because like, what was it, last year, or the year before, we had two of the gentlemen up here from Steiner and West, and they both had little jabs to make about the Thanksgiving game. You both were very polite today. I guess we'll see on Thursday, right? Thank you, ladies. Okay, oh, the microphone's loud. Okay, Dr. Artabello. Yeah, you guys. You can hang out.
Stay as
or
long as you like, or it's up to you.
Join the fun or get on out. Thank you. Have a
Thank you,
happy
ladies. Have a nice
Thanksgiving.
David. Good night.
Sandler Day. She said one of their school spirit days is Adam Sandler Day.
Okay, good evening, everyone. I'm Dr. Altabello, and I am going to be presenting on SSDS. That's the School Safety Data System. So the state of New Jersey requires us, each school in the state is required to collect information and report to the Department of Education with respect to certain incidents that take place in the school. And then we are required twice a year to produce a report for the Board of Ed that will show those incidents. So the School Safety Data System requires us to report on issues of violence, vandalism, weapons offenses, substance abuse offenses, alleged offenses of HIB, confirmed HIB, and other offenses that lead to a student being removed from school for a minimum of a half day. So what you're seeing here is the elementary division, and I want to frame this for you so that you have some perspective. In the elementary schools, as you know, we have 17 elementary schools. We have roughly 5,400 elementary students. So when you're looking at this spreadsheet, I'm showing you 3 years. Now, it's important to remember 2019, 2020 was the year that COVID started. So that year was abbreviated in March. All students were sent home. So a majority of these issues ended in March. The 2020, 2021, that was COVID year 2. We started remote. We came in, we went back to remote. Parents were allowed to elect to have their children remote. And then the blue is 21, 22 school year. So you're seeing that's the first year back from COVID, all of the blue. So just when you're looking at this, to give you perspective, based on the 5,400 students in the elementary division and based on these numbers, roughly 98% of our students in the elementary are not involved in any incident that requires reporting to the SSDS. 99% of those students are not involved in any incident with respect to violence. 99% of those students are not involved in any incident of vandalism, substance abuse, or a weapons offense. 98% of the students are not involved in any confirmed HIB. 98% of the students are not involved in any of the alleged HIBs. And 97% of the students, of the 5,400 elementary students, are not involved in an incident resulting in suspension of at least half a day. Those are good statistics. The secondary, 3 middle schools, 3 high schools, roughly 6,800 students. 95% of those students are not involved in any incident that requires reporting to the school safety data system. 96% of our secondary students are not involved in any incident of violence. 99% of our secondary students are not involved in any incident of vandalism, substance abuse, or a weapons offense. 99% of the students are not involved in a confirmed HIB. 99% of the students are not involved in an alleged HIB. 93% of the students are not involved in an incident resulting in at least a half-day suspension. With 6,700 kids, those are good statistics. And then this is Hamilton Township School District, big picture, 12,200 students. 96% of our students overall are not involved in any SSDS reporting incidents. 98% of the 12,155 students are not involved in an incident of violence. 99% of students are not involved in an incident of vandalism, substance abuse, or weapons offenses. 99% of the 12,155 students are not involved in a confirmed HIB. 99% of the students are not involved in an alleged HIB. And 95% of the 12,155 students in the Hamilton Township School District are not involved or were not involved in any incident that required them to be removed from school for a minimum half day. Are we satisfied with these numbers? No. Are we proud of these numbers? Yes. So I know that bringing Mrs. Furlato on as the Director of Guidance and continuing to work with the administrators in the building, we're going to continue to make progress. But I'm proud of the work that the teachers are doing. I'm proud of the work that the administrators are doing. And most of all, I'm proud of the work that the students are doing. Because coming out of COVID was not easy. And to have these numbers and those statistics is very impressive. So I proudly present these numbers to you and let you know from our perspective, there is still work to be done. And we're going to continue to do that work, but we're proud of the accomplishments as we have thus far. And we look forward to continuing to do that work. So I thank you for your time tonight. Have a good Thanksgiving.
Thank you. Okay, next we're going to have our board committee reports. We'll start with Christina Harvey for Rich Kanka with the finance and operations.
Thank you. The Finance Committee met last Thursday evening. We had in attendance Mr. Kinka, who led the meeting, Mr. Celentano, and myself, as well as members of senior staff, including Dr. Altabello, Mrs. Atwood, Mrs. Odino, Mrs. Furlato, and Mr. Scotto. We also had joining us Mr. Miranda, and then our representative from our architect, Mr. Eves from Spiesel, the architecture firm, and then from New Roads, our management company, Mr. Whites, who discussed some issues with us. So we began with talk about the bid results for the summer 2023 HVAC projects. This is on the board's agenda
for number 15. These projects are ESSER 3 funded. We're working on in West and East, the AC and the cafeterias. There were multiple bidders and thankfully they came in under budget. So that is motion 15. In addition, there was an update. Mr. Kenka had participated in a meeting over the athletic fields with the principals, the athletic directors, the architect, and the construction manager to review final drawings. There were plans submitted for soil conservation. They were pending final approval. There was also discussion about parts of the athletic field. We also talked about what's number 18 on our agenda, which is the demographic study. We've hired or if it approves tonight, we will hire a demographer to do a study. That was the result of need in our district because the prior study that had been done several years ago is now outdated. It was projecting a decrease in our enrollment when we've shown a significant increase in our enrollment. The study will take 2 to 4 months to complete and we'll review pending developments. In addition, there was discussion about at Greenwood and Layler, the HVAC boiler univent replacement. There was only one bidder. Unfortunately, that came back as overbid for, or the Layler was way over budget. So the motion 14 on your agenda has been updated. It reflects that the recommendation from committee is to approve the Greenwood bid and to reject the Layler bid. There was also discussion of the new ROD grant opportunities soon to be announced and updating the Layler project to include abatement needs and prepare for submitting for a ROD grant once opened. We also talked about, and this is number 18 on your agenda, the approval for Spiesel and to prepare drawings to submit to the Department of Education for ESSER 3 funding or ROD grant funding for at Wilson and University Heights Tower and chiller plants. Then we discussed Mercerville kitchen upgrades. There was fire official approval of the oven installation. That is number motion 19. And that's to approve Spiesel to develop drawings for the 2 ovens and service line updates so that Mercerville can have an updated oven. There was also number 16 on your agenda is the agreement that we have tentatively reached with the owner of the Bell Ave parking lot so that we can park our buses. That was extended through September of 2023. Then we discussed the lower level of Park Ave, that there is work that has to be completed. And we discussed having it done when the building is closed over holiday break. There was a discussion about whether we needed to do that, and we do in order to have that lower level opened again for members of the public and our employees. We discussed submission to the Department of Education of capital projects like the athletic fields, modular classrooms, the HVAC and kitchen upgrades. That is number 11 on your agenda, which is 2 modular classrooms at Cooser and Wilson. Then number 13 on the agenda is that approval of adding engineering fees for the athletic fields for the Spiesel professional services contract. The fees had been budgeted and were originally included in the athletic field proposals. Then we discussed the issue of the growth of student debt following the food service. If you recall, last year, all meals were free. Now that they're not free, the debt is growing. We actually had, and that's number 9, motion 9 is the report on that debt. We wanted to encourage the public to, or parents to check their portal to make sure that they're up to date. There are ways to auto deduct your cafeteria plan so that when your student goes to buy lunch, you automatically have it deducted from a credit card and it replenishes for the student. There have been issues. So if you as a parent log in, we encourage you to log in and see, is your account negative? And if it is, and you thought that it was to auto renew, you should let us know because this is a new system. So we want to make sure that there are no issues. So if your student does buy lunch, just log in and make sure that there are no issues with that because that debt is growing as the year grows. In addition, we, although we did not discuss this at committee, I'm noting that we have added motion 20, which is upon the recommendation of the superintendent that the Board of Education ratifies the retention of France Law Group, APLC, on a contingency fee basis to pursue litigation against Juul, an electronic cigarette. France Law Group, APLC, was selected based upon its expertise and current pending multi-district litigation against Juul on behalf of public boards of education. So this is a motion that has been added so that the district can join a class action that is suing the manufacturers of vape pens. And hopefully, if it's successful, we can have money come into the district to prevent the use of vape pens and other issues related to vape pens. So that is motion 20.
Do we need a second on that motion?
No.
We're not there yet, but I just wanted to
Okay.
to let you know
Sure,
that
report.
that will be added for
We'll
finances.
need it though, Pam.
And our next meeting as a committee will be December 14th at 8:30 a.m. Thank you.
Thank you. Hey, Pam, you want to do the Personnel Committee report?
Sure. The Personnel Committee met on November 16th. As for the other committees as well, Dr. Rocco gave us an update on the athletic fields, the demographic study, and let us know that HEF would be given the grant presentations tonight. Last time, I think you guys told us what the grants were that they won for, so that'd be cool next time too. Huh? The last time that for the HEF for the grants, they told us what they were for, so that was kind of cool last time.
You want to read them off?
I mean, I don't know if people want to hear them now, but I thought it was cool when they had people come up and they got their award. They said it was for. So special services talked about the student, a special education parent advisory group and what that's doing. Dr. Ortobello gave us an update on the SSDS, which he presented tonight, talked about charter enrollment verification and noted that several students for the charter schools were denied due to the lack of the verification that they were attending that. We talked about an HIB, talked about some personnel matters and some contract matters. And our next meeting will be December 14th at 4:15.
Thank you.
Anything else that you'd want to add, Sue or Dina? All right, thank you.
Just one thing about the athletic fields. I know Miss Harvey and Miss Kelly now announced it. So on that committee was Liam, Mr. Gonzalez. I had one person, one board member from each committee for that, to talk about the football fields so that everybody had a chance to chime in and know what was going on for our progress with the football fields. And I think a tentative date for them to be possibly complete is for next, dare I say, next September? So they're in the days, I think Hamilton West should get started very soon. Okay, thank you. Okay. Hey, did I miss anything, Liam? What, you were in that meeting? No?
No, Dave.
I know
Nope.
this is a big question. A lot of people have been asking us, so that's why.
It was me and Rich there. All the fields look beautiful in the drawing form. I think it'll be great. So
Okay.
we'll see how they come out.
Thanks. Okay. Dr. Ferrer, curriculum report?
Can I add for DCR?
Oh, yes, sorry. I didn't know you had some. Sorry, go ahead.
So DCR, the District Community Relations Committee, met this past Thursday, the 17th. It was a great meeting. We've had 2 meetings so far this school year. And for this meeting, we actually broke into our subcommittees. We have 4 this year, and they've kind of evolved from the actions and research that happened last year. So the 4 subcommittees are curriculum and community outreach, suspension findings, recruitment and retention, and climate and culture. The curriculum and outreach committee discussed ideas for outreach, including having a resource fair or participating at parent conferences. So trying to make sure we connect with the community a little more to make sure that the district is really getting out there and spreading the word of the opportunities and things that are going on in the district. The suspension findings committee was starting to look at the code of conduct and how we can improve visibility of that, so to make sure that all students and families have access to it in a way that's easy for them. And in the January meeting, they're looking forward to reviewing the suspension findings for this past year. The recruitment and retention committee dove into the recent hiring practices and discussed the downturn in available candidates that throughout the country we've really been experiencing just a decrease in the amount of people in the available work pool. So looking into that, and the January meeting will have more information about trends in hiring within the district. The climate and culture committee discussed some of the comments that were left on the survey for joining the DCR. So if you're interested in joining the DCR, you're asked to to take a survey and just answer a few questions. So they're kind of doing a deep dive on that as we speak. One thing that came up, which we heard at the last public meeting, was the importance of crossing guard and crosswalk safety improvements. So that was a big thing that DCR is trying to get off the ground there, just to make sure that schools can be a little safer, because we've experienced some of the tragic events that have actually happened in the last I would like to say last month or so, but really it's been a while. And they're also looking at trying to increase access to special needs and services and increase the communication efforts there between the community and the district. So that's just some of the good stuff that's happening there. And if you're interested in joining the DCR, you can email dcr@htsdnj.org to get some more information. Our next meeting is actually, we don't have one in December because of the holidays and everyone's really busy crunching for that. But the next meeting is in person for the first time in a couple of years. And it's at Wilson on January 19th. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Dr. Farrar?
Thank you, Mrs. Lombardo. The CNI committee met on Wednesday, November 16th. All 3 committee members were in attendance, along with Mr. Scotto, who is our liaison, Dr. Rocco, Dr. Altabello, Ms. Audino, Ms. Furlado, and Ms. Atwood. Our committee continues in conversation about the 2020 health and physical education standards, taking into account the comments and concerns of our colleagues. We discussed how the family life portion of the standards is a very small piece of the document, yet it has consumed a large portion of our attention. A committee member will be meeting with members of the Finance and Operations Committee and the Personnel Committee next month to present our suggestions on how to adapt the family life portion of the standards for our community. We hope that we can all reach consensus at these meetings so that the Office of Curriculum and Instruction can proceed in developing the curriculum. So that the community understands the process here, the State Department of Education provides the standards. They are a given. It's state law. What the board votes on to accept is the curriculum document that Mr. Scotto and a team of teachers will design. Mr. Scotto will be making a public presentation about the 2020 health and phys ed standards at the December board meeting, which is scheduled for December 21st at Morgan School. I again remind the public that the district is teaching the 2014 standards. The new standards will be implemented in the fall of 2023. Thus far, the committee has strengthened the opt-out provision, which allows families to decide if their children will remain in class for instruction. And the topic list for health classes has been added to the district's curriculum page under health and physical education. The committee also reviewed policy and regulation number 9130, which covers public complaints and grievances, along with policy and regulation 2530, which addresses resource materials. Policies and regulations are built off state law. Mrs. Harvey and Dr. McSheen attended a presentation at the New Jersey School Boards Convention addressing these documents. And as Ms. Harvey said, she has submitted a suggestion for a policy change, which raised many questions during our discussion in committee that Mr. Carrick has been asked to look at. The committee decided not to move forward with any changes to policy at the moment while Mr. Carrick reviews those policies and completes his legal research. Mr. Scotto briefed the committee on the recent teacher in-services events that Dr. Rocco referenced. They happened on November 8th and 9th. They were innovative in those choice sessions. If you follow the district on Twitter, you might have seen some of them. Guidance counselors traveled to Rowan University to learn more about what that school would offer our students. Music teachers gathered to perform together, which if you're not a musician, getting together as a group that has never been together before, whether you sing or play an instrument, is really a lot of fun. And I presume they were sight reading a piece of music that some of them had probably played, but they had never played together. So that was kind of fun to watch on Twitter. Other sessions involved team building and sharing of best practices. Ms. Audino briefed the committee on the upcoming meeting of the Special Education Advisory Group. The last meeting of that group happened in July of this year. The next meeting is scheduled for Monday, November 28th at Crockett, right here in the Media Center at 6:30. And finally, the board will be asked to approve the SDDS presentation that Dr. Altabello just made, and that is motion 10. Thank you.
Thank you. I just want to add, I know you had mentioned December for that presentation. Since our meeting is 4 days before Christmas, we're thinking we might wait for our new board to be on and do it in January, because if people are away for the holiday and all, it's a pretty important presentation. So we want to make sure we have a full crowd here to see it thoroughly.
Superintendent's call.
It's an important presentation to make. So, does anybody have any questions for Dr. Ferraro? Okay, next our monthly, oh, sorry, Ms. Thorne.
That's okay. More of just a comment in regards to the PD. If we could just possibly get a list of all the professional development choices and options that they were. I know that we offer quite a few, so it would be nice just to kind of take a look at what the teachers were offered.
I'll make sure it's uploaded in the board library.
Thank you so much.
We good? Okay. Any questions on the monthly suspension report? HIB report or health report?
Health report?
Health report?
Yes.
Go ahead.
And I apologize if this is an obvious answer. But looking at the health screening numbers, there seem to be a lot of health screenings for a bunch of schools and then none, for some. So I was just wondering if that's like a timing thing where some screenings happened in September or just haven't happened yet. Do you know what I'm talking about? There's, 0 at East and 42 at North, but then there's like 280 at McAlliard, for example.
Dr. McSheen, I'll let Ms. Aldino.
They just do it as a rotation.
Okay, thank you.
I just wanted to point out that our nurses are doing amazing work. We have in the district 11,998 children, and health office visits numbered 14,221. So thank you.
Okay, we have one person on for the hearing of the public on agenda items only, and it's Chanel Vickers Ames.
Hi, Chanel Vickers Ames, resident Hamilton. I just had a question about the lunch financials. So the new program started in September. My question is, when it changed over, my kids had a balance from the old program. So does that switch over into the new program? Because I just put more money on their new account, but the old account still has a balance.
So Ms. Atwood right there, will take your name and number and they'll check in on that for you.
Okay, that's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, moving on, we'll go to, I'm going to close that portion because we don't have anything else to find out for that. We're going to go to motions for curriculum instruction. Ms. Dr. Farrar, want to take us through those?
Upon the recommendation of the superintendent, I move curriculum and instruction motions 1 through 10.
Second.
Anybody have any questions? Ms. Thornton?
Yes, I have a question for number 10, for the SSDS presentation. First of all, Dr. Altabello, thank you very much for the presentation. I just had a quick question. If we could get a list of, I know I ask for this every year, and it's just very helpful when we're looking at that, a list of the programs and the trainings that all the schools had been offered and completed. Thank you very much.
Anyone else for curriculum instruction? Oh, Dr. McShane, fight it out, guys.
I'll just quickly go over the donations so that
Oh, sure, go
everyone
ahead.
can know.
Sorry,
We
I'm
have
cold.
3 that we'll be voting on. One is a gift from a community parent to Reynolds Middle School, which looks like a bunch of novels for 6th grade ELA to the value of $100. The second item is the Steiner Booster Club, paying for basically the video recording service for their sporting events, or at least paying towards it, which is at the value of $4,100. And I don't know if Dr. Rocco would like to comment on this, but we've received a grant for $10,000 from the Princeton Area Community Foundation for summer camp supplies, scholarships, and transportation. I know it was a big grant.
Yes, so the Princeton Area Community Foundation has been very generous to the school district. We've received two $300,000 grants about 4.5 years ago to address chronic absenteeism. During the pandemic, they had also awarded us multiple grants in size of between, I think, $10,000 and $25,000. Thanks to Ms. Gelch, who's telling me it's even higher than that, but she also filled out a lot of those applications. And then this most recent grant is actually to provide summer camp for students around our district that their families can't afford it. And so whether that's a full week, full day, we're working out the details with that. But that's the intention of the grant, is to allow students in our district to participate in summer camp and get a week's worth of camp.
Thank you.
Dr. McShane, could you repeat the Steiner one you said again? I was trying to hear it clearly. The Steiner
Oh, the
donation
Steiner,
booster
yeah,
club?
the Steiner Booster Club for $4,100, which was a payment to help pay for the videotaping service that they use for the sporting events.
Oh, Huddle. Is it
Huddle, yes,
HUDL?
Huddle.
Oh,
Yeah,
Huddle,
yeah, it's the
okay.
Huddle service.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead, Mr. Gonzalez.
I see here that West has put in for a Key Largo trip, and I understood that all the high schools went to Key Largo. So
Oh,
do they, or is West
I
separate?
think we talked about this last month, didn't we?
Dr. Altabello, you want to clarify that for Mr. Gonzalez?
Do you have a mic?
Yeah, last month we approved the 2 high schools, Steiner and West, for the Key Largo trip. This month we're approving just an additional chaperone to go with West so that we have both a male and a female chaperone. Steinert already has that. Nottingham Marine Biology does not go to Key Largo. All of the students in the Nottingham class were surveyed by the teacher and by the principal. If anybody wanted to go, we would have put them on the trip, but Nottingham is going on a separate trip that West and Steinert don't go to another location later on in the year for marine biology. So this approval is just approving one additional chaperone so that West has both a male and a female chaperone in Key Largo. The trip has already been approved.
Okay, thank you.
So Dr. Artabell, last month when we approved that for the two schools to go, we had said, are we going to make sure any Nottingham students get to go? But now their marine biology class is going somewhere totally different.
So all of that trip was already planned, but in addition to that, we went to the marine biology classes at Nottingham. Mr. Ragazzo went, spoke with the teachers, spoke with the students, asked if any of the students would be interested in participating. None of them were interested in participating with West or Steiner, but they already had
Because they're
planned
going on
for
their own
another
trip.
trip. Yes.
Are they going somewhere similar to Key Largo?
I don't want to tell you the wrong information. I just know
Okay.
that there's another trip planned
All
for
right.
marine biology at Nottingham. I don't know the
We
location.
just like them all to have some, I mean, Key Largo is pretty nice, so I would hate to see them go to the Camden Aquarium.
I
and they're
volunteered to
going
go as a chaperone. I was told no.
Nothing against the Camden Aquarium. It's very nice, but it's not Key Largo. Just we're trying to make it fair. Okay, thanks. Okay, can we, are we ready to move them? Okay, Ms. Atwood? Now I'm gonna get a
Mr.
letter. that's about
Gonzalez?
Camden Aquarium.
Yes.
Ms. Harvey?
Yes.
Ms. Kelly? Yes. Dr. McSheen?
Yes.
Ms. Thornton?
Yes.
Mr. Salantano?
Yes.
Dr. Farrar?
Yes.
Ms. Lombardo?
Yes.
Motion's passed.
I just want to clarify, anybody that wants to write me a letter, the aquarium is very nice. I was just saying, I'd rather go to Key Largo than the aquarium. So just trying to clarify my comments here, just before I get an nasty email tomorrow. Okay, finance and operations.
Upon the recommendation of the superintendent, I would like to move H1 through 20. Just note the revision to number 14, which is that we are rejecting the bid for Layler because it was overbid, but approving the Greenwood bid. And then for 20, I will read it one more time because you don't have it in your packet. Upon the recommendation of the
Don't we have to walk that
We have to
motion
add that
on?
on first.
Okay, go
To
ahead.
make a motion, add it.
After she reads it, go ahead. Go ahead, Christine.
You're okay.
Okay. Upon the recommendation of the superintendent that the Board of Education ratifies the retention of the France Law Group, APLC, on a contingency fee basis to pursue litigation against Juul and Electronic Cigarette. France Law Group, APLC, was selected based upon its expertise in current pending multi-district litigation against Juul on behalf of public boards of education.
So moved. Jeff, do a second and.
Second.
Now motion to amend.
Motion to amend?
What do you need? A motion to amend? So moved.
Motion to amend.
Second.
And just to be clear, we're adding number 20, which is the Jewel
Okay.
litigation appointment. Okay.
Are we good?
All in favor on the amendment?
Yes.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained,
Okay,
motion
team.
passes.
Now, that was good, guys.
So now
Very nice.
she moves 1 through 20.
Now it's already there.
It's
So now
already there? All
Questions on that motion.
Anybody
It's
have
all
any
20 items.
questions? If not, Ms. Atwood, do you have a question, Ms. Thornton?
For all of them or just
1 through 20, any of them?
Questions on
I
it?
do. I have questions on,
Go ahead.
so
Awesome.
on motion number 10,
Mhm.
I just want to, going through the scope of work, it states resurfacing of all tracks. So can we just get clarification on that?
Ms. Atwood?
I'm not sure I understand. This is just to submit other capital projects for the approval. It should be, it says all, it should be the 3 fields and the 1 track. It includes all.
So in one of it, it states the scope of work, resurfacing of existing tracks.
Oh, good. Then maybe we're getting approval for all of them. We don't have funding for it. This is just a the step we're doing now is just a request for DOE has to review our projects. This isn't approval to do them, because as you know, we've already approved them.
Okay.
So I guess the architect, because it is our intention
It is our
to
intention.
do the other two tracks if we could have the funding in this upcoming budget. So I'm assuming they just put it in the motion so we could get approval for all of them at the same time.
Okay, just a
Yeah,
clarification.
but
Thank you.
I didn't even pick
And
that
that's
up.
okay to approve all of them?
And then I had a question on number 13, and I believe Mrs. Harvey already clarified it, but I just want to confirm. The number 13 was, the cost was already included in the original proposal, correct? This is not additional cost?
Correct. It was, yes.
Thank you.
And we're good to approve all three of them now?
Yes.
Okay. Anybody else? Is that what?
Mr. Gonzalez,
Yes.
Ms. Harvey,
I abstain from H7, 10, and I vote yes for the rest.
Ms. Kelly,
Yes.
Dr. McSheen,
Yes.
Ms. Thornton,
Yes, but I need to abstain on motion 12, page 13, line items 16 and 17, and page 39, line items 2 through 13. Yes on all others.
Mr. Salantano,
Yes.
Dr. Farrar,
Yes.
Ms. Lombardo.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, Miss Kelly?
Sure, upon the recommendation of the superintendent, I move personnel items 1 through 17. And before I ask for your vote, I always read the retirements. We have 5 retirements this month. Cheryl Grachowski, an English teacher at Crockett, retiring after 31 years of service in Hamilton. Donna Mayer, an English teacher at Crockett, retiring after 25 years of service in Hamilton Township. Rosamond Pierre, a custodian, 21 years of service in Hamilton Township Schools. Susan Johnston, a secretary at Hamilton West, 33 years in Hamilton. And Wendy Quaval, a secretary at Reynolds with 17 years of service. Thank you to everyone for their support of our students and the district.
It's a lot of the years. Anybody? So
Second.
Second.
second for the HR
Second.
items?
Second, Ms. Thornton.
Yeah, Ms.
Tina.
Thornton.
Sorry.
Oh,
Ms. Thornton did. Anybody have any question on those? Ms. Atwood?
Mr. Gonzalez,
Yes.
Ms. Harvey,
I am abstaining from number 1, A8, number 2, B4, and yes, the rest.
Ms. Kelly,
Yes.
Dr. McSheen,
Yes.
Thornton,
Yes, but I'm abstaining on A7.
Mr. Salantano,
Yes, no on number 8, no on number 16, abstain on A7.
Dr. Farrar,
Yes.
Ms. Lombardo.
Yes, I'm going to abstain on all of I1.
Motion's passed.
Okay, we're down to other business.
My interest,
Oh, yeah, sure. I'm sorry.
As part of the motion, we also approved the next Kistard principal. I'd like to welcome Pam Southard to Hamilton Township Public Schools.
Thank you so much. It's great to be here tonight. I want to thank the administration, Board of Education for the warm welcome, as well as the interviewing committee and my family who came out here tonight to support me. Really looking forward to getting starting at Kissed Heart to get to know the students, the families, the community, the teachers, and also to touch base with Mrs. Gulam before she retires so that we can make a smooth transition. So thank you very much.
Okay, we are at other business. I have two things not school related, but I want to wish Dr. Rocco a happy birthday from the 19th. And Dr. Copeland, a happy birthday this evening. Thank you for sticking with us for your birthday. don't, our next board meeting we have scheduled for the 21st. And do we know what the location is for that?
Yes, it's Morgan. correct?
Morgan.
Morgan.
Okay, that'll be at Morgan Elementary. Sure. And does any other board members have any other business? Dr. Farrar?
I just wanted to share with the board, I had the pleasure of spending time with students in Steinert's gallery class last week, which many of you have done this. It's always a lot of fun to go in and engage with the students and try to answer their questions. For those of you who are not familiar with gallery, it's an upper level elective, and gallery stands for government and law related experiences. As you might imagine, the students and I talked about the turmoil which has existed at the board meetings over the last 11 months in connection with LGBTQ students. And we talked about the fact that society and education have been down this current path twice before, and the theme has always been about segregating a certain collection of students from public education. For example, on May 17th, 1954, the US Supreme Court issued its decision on the case known as Brown versus the Topeka Board of Education. The ruling meant Black children could attend public school with their white counterparts. And now teachers get to share the story of Ruby Bridges. 47 years ago, on November 29th, 1975, then President Gerald Ford signed a law known as the Education for All Handicapped Children Act. When it was renewed in 1990, it became known as the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, or IDEA. Ford's actions meant that children with special needs were no longer warehoused in institutions. And I have to tell you, growing up in Syracuse, New York, the Syracuse Developmental Center was right next to the zoo. It was never lost on me, the positioning of those two institutions. And I certainly remember when children were brought into the school districts, even as a student teacher. It was very contentious unnecessarily, and it was a really great move. And now we see people like Dr. Temple Grandin, a woman, a scientist who lives with autism and writes and teaches. Yet now we see around the country a push to curtail the rights of LGBTQ students in public schools. And I told the gallery students that I found that disheartening. The students asked great questions. I think they are mystified by the actions of some adults. We talked about how students could see more on their cell phones using search terms in Google than they would ever see in books like Genderqueer. And they asked if their presence at board meetings would make a difference. And I suggested that they generate a hypothesis and test the question by showing up. Thank you.
Wow. 2023. Should we say we have many on the same topic? Okay, we're just looking, we have 23 people signed up, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10. 15 of them are from the same group.
Same
Topic. So we're gonna try and get through everybody, but there's other people on here that have important topics too that are on. So I want to, I don't know what we're gonna do. Well, this is actually the first page.
Go to the unique.
I'll have to
ones
start
and
this
then go
one.
back to the replicates.
That's a good idea.
I'm hoping that some people that are together wouldn't mind getting everybody in.
There's no rule to do it in order. Couldn't we just do
Okay,
the
I'm gonna
unique ones
start
and
with the
then go?
first 20 minutes. What?
Excuse me.
Yes.
So doing some math.
So we're not gonna
um,
do that right now. We got to do the first 20 minutes before we can extend it and
Pardon
change
me?
everything, right, Patrick?
Yeah, that's what we usually do.
We have to go through the first part first, and then we can extend it.
see how quickly we can get through them and then see how many we have left.
I mean, the math is almost, we're at 17 people in the same exact thing,
Madam President,
but
Madam
we
President,
have to do that after we do the 20 minutes. I already asked that.
Madam
Yes.
President, why don't you just pick out the unique ones?
You can't do that. You have to go in order.
Well, I think if you're going to have,
I'm not going to skip anybody. I have to go in order. That's what I'm telling them. Well, they all say
but
the
I
same
think if
thing.
they're all
It's the
repetitive,
same topic.
Same topic.
Let me
It's-
rephrase
we can,
the wording.
I can show it to you. It's the same topic.
It's exact same topic.
yeah, so can't you just skip around and do the
I'm going to
unique
start with the
ones?
20 minutes. All I'm saying is that there's other items on here too that aren't the same topic that I'd like to get to also.
Well,
So we're going to start right now, 20 minutes, and we'll go from there.
Let's go.
Unless the policy changes, this is how we have to do it every
No.
single month.
We'll change the policy
The
after the new
policy
year.
committee can look at it if they want, but
Make sure everybody's
Renee
here.
Rogers. I'll do the best I can. I'm only following the rule.
Okay, I'll speak quickly.
Do you want us to lower that for you?
Can I?
Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Renee Rogers. I am a Hamilton
Hello.
resident, a mom of 3 graduates of our high schools, former Girl Scout leader, former CCD teacher, and I'm also your librarian at Steinert High School. Over the weekend, recent graduates of our high schools reached out to our community with an online survey. They gathered voices and stories from our community in support of LGBTQ+ representation in our curriculum, our schools, and our school libraries. They seek to provide an important counterpoint to some of the hateful rhetoric shared at this microphone during the public comment periods over the past year. The statements these students have gathered are powerful. Sometimes they're angry, sometimes they're hurt, and often they're hopeful. In summary, they are asking the board and the district not to give power to the hateful voices, not to erase LGBTQ+ identities, symbols, curricula, and books from our schools. And they're asking the district to please protect those in our schools who are the most vulnerable by shutting down any hate speech during public meetings. Respectfully, I'd like to use the rest of my time to share some of the collected voices that I've been asked to read to you. An anonymous respondent said, as an educator and parent, I've seen students and children thrive reading novels geared toward their self-identity and discovery. It gives them a voice, a sense of belonging in an unfortunately harsh world. Representation matters. Children deserve to be seen, heard, and loved. Banning books creates an environment full of the uneducated. Whether you believe in LGBTQ+ or not, there are children who do identify in the community. To ban LGBTQ+ materials only makes children feel left out, unheard, and unwanted. If you rather your child not read a book, then so be it. You have that right, but do not deny another child the right to read about a subject that might make a significant impact on their lives. Genesee said, I am part of the LGBTQ+ community. Growing up and having access to representation in books was not a thing because of the time in which I grew up. It would have had a tremendous impact in acceptance of myself at a much earlier age. An anonymous respondent said, I learned that there are people out there who have been treated differently from me through no actions on their part. Despite this, they have the same aspirations, live similar lives as people like me. These books helped me learn how the authors got to where they are and where they are going. I learned that they want to live their lives and have a positive impact on the community just like anyone else. The major differences are how they got here and the obstacles they faced. I support librarians. They are highly trained and well-educated. They work hard and care about the students. I'm a longtime Hamilton resident who sent my child to Hamilton schools. This town has become more diverse over the years. Only by learning about that diversity did I learn not to fear it. Brianna B., a 2003 Steinert graduate, said, it helped me see that my LGBT friends deserve to be able to live and love openly and that they are worth fighting for. No one who wants anyone to have less access to knowledge belongs in a school. Chaplain Mark S. said, I learned a lot about God's creation being good and that creation includes LGBTQ plus people. God created them as LGBTQ plus, and forcing them to be otherwise is dangerous and potentially lethal. Thank you for listening to my comments. Thank you for the time, and I appreciate all the hard work that the board does.
Thank you. Amelia Rodriguez.
Good evening. My name is Amelia Rodriguez. I am a resident of Hamilton, a 2002 graduate of West, and a librarian here in Mercer County. I'm going to read my own statement first. I've learned so much about people discovering who they are through these books that it has encouraged me to look at myself, and in the past few years find myself under the ACE spectrum of the flag. It was something I wish I could have done while in high school, where I felt very left out. A 2015 HTSD graduate said, books taught me to empathize with people different than me and kept me from being a close-minded bigot. People's lives are literally at stake here. The shooting in Colorado Springs is not unrelated to fascist attempts to censor literature and erase LGBTQ plus people. Louis L., a 2018 Steinert graduate, said, members of the LGBTQ plus community have served as pivotal markers in our history. Erasing them from our libraries is an attempt to erase them from our past, present, and future. No known studies provide logical, academic, and moral substantive as evidence that LGBTQ plus literature negatively affects the youth. However, a multitude of academic research supports the inclusion of LGBT plus Q representation in books in school. When a community says a book is being banned from the library because of its content, it sends a message to both queer and non-queer students. It is telling LGBTQ plus students that their identity needs to be censored. It is telling the students that they do not deserve to be on the shelf, both literally and metaphorically. It is telling the students that their stories do not deserve to be heard. For non-queer students, the banning of LGBTQ plus themed books is telling them that LGBTQ plus identities should be censored. It is telling them that their peers do not deserve to be represented on a shelf. It is telling them that LGBT plus Q stories do not deserve to be heard. Books with LGBTQ plus themes serve as a validation of the existence of LGBTQ plus students. Additionally, representation in literature also helps other students better understand the experiences of their peers. A study conducted by NPR states that nearly half of LGBTQ plus youth will seriously consider suicide. In 2021, 73% of LGBTQ youth reported experiencing symptoms of anxiety, and 58% reported experiencing symptoms of depression. These statistics are not new discoveries. It has been proven time and time again that the marginalization of minority students will result in such destructive patterns. Remember this before you make a decision. Elise D., a 2006 Nottingham graduate, said, books can provide experiences and real support in times of need. Diverse perspectives are critical to learning, even if we do not agree with them. Libraries should be safe spaces for all, and a space that is judgmental cannot be safe. A 2009 Nottingham graduate said, LGBTQ plus representation in books has positively impacted me because it allowed me to see the world from a different perspective than my own. Seeing LGBTQ plus representation in books shows acceptance for different lifestyles and can show the struggles that these groups have faced. Book banning and censorship has no place in Hamilton Township schools. Librarians are trained professionals and should be trusted to select appropriate materials for their collections. Thank you for this time.
Thank you. Katie Gaffney. Katie?
Hi, everyone. I'm Katie Gaffney. I'm a Hamilton resident and a Steinert class of 2012 graduate. Growing up, I didn't read any books with LGBTQ plus representation. It took me until I was almost 30 to realize and accept that I'm part of the LGBTQ plus community. It's very possible that I might have learned more about myself at a younger age had I been around that representation. I couldn't have relied on my parents to educate me at the time. Now I read books featuring queer people and written by queer people. These books make me wish that I had these options earlier in life, and I'm glad to have these options now because they've helped me understand myself. I've also worked with adolescents in a behavioral health center that specializes in suicide prevention. In my experience, the LGBTQ+ teens who had people in their lives that accepted and supported them had better health outcomes than the teens who went without that kind of support. LGBTQ+ teens are at a higher risk of suicide, not because of their identity, but because of the stigma they face. Updating the health curriculum's language and diversifying the library are two changes that can contribute to a more supportive school environment. When students feel accepted and supported, they're better able to manage stress and better able to learn. I will now read comments. Katie Gruhl, a 2003 Steiner graduate, also said, I have read books written by LGBTQ+ authors and those that have featured LGBTQ+ characters, and they have enriched my worldview by opening my eyes to perspectives that I have not personally experienced. Representation matters. Being a kid is hard enough, and seeing others like you who are accepted and thriving, let alone just allowed to exist, is the bare minimum we should do for kids of all races, sexes, orientations, cultures, and abilities. Keep the books in schools. Seriously, what year is this? I can't even believe this is a conversation. Another anonymous respondent said, compassion for human beings and the struggle teens face when different, a Board of Ed position does not bestow the right to whitewash the district with extreme religious values. This is a public institution responsible for positively shaping the lives of children, all children. A Steiner graduate said, one of my children experienced dysphoria until they discovered others similar to them in person and in literature. The literature didn't change their opinions. Rather, it helped them to feel accepted and recognize their personal identity. This child entered adult life healthy where they were previously in danger of suicide. My husband and I sought out valid resources for education regarding our child. We are forever changed. Humans like our child are at high risk for murder and suicide. This young adult is a brilliant, creative, contributing member of society. There's plenty of data and historical fact to support our truth. I didn't understand until my own child's life was in danger. Then I chose to see what was right in front of us. Humans of all genders, races, and abilities can and should live together in harmony. We don't need to fear those different than us. Books don't randomly appear in a library. There are procedures in place to be sure books are age appropriate. Banning books from high schools is a terrifying concept. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Liam Bucamp.
Hello, my name is Liam Beauchamp. I am a 2013 Nottingham graduate. As a queer youth, I had limited representation in books. I had to search them out in libraries, bookstores, and the internet. What I found was that even though there were many books about and by other queer people, the access I had was limited. I was not out to my parents at the time, so I could not go to them for help. I was scared and felt extremely alone. The representation that I found as I got older saved me. I found love, community, and safety. I found that I was not alone and I did not have to be scared anymore. Representation saves lives. When queer youth are only exposed to books that erase queerness, it takes a toll. Sometimes that pain makes the world so unbearable that children take their lives because they feel so othered, hated, and alone. These books save lives. We need to protect our youth by showing them that they are not alone. I'll now read some comments. Rose C. said, broadening my understandings of lives and experience of others, as all books do. Education is not indoctrination. Trust in the process of learning and questioning for youth to find their own way. Nunu L, a 2019 Steinert graduate, said, representation is very important to ensure your space in life, workplace, and school life. It gives us all a sense of normality and purpose while telling us we are not alone. It has helped me conquer a lot when it comes to my self-identity and just how I perform in general in today's world. It is very important to remember that everyone comes from different backgrounds, have different beliefs. That is what makes America, America. That is why we are what we are today. Growing up in Hamilton School District, I have always felt supported and cared for. I hope every kid gets to feel that same feeling I felt, even if it starts with a book with an LGBTQ character or author on a shelf in the library. Stuart G. said, banning books was the first step taken by the Nazis. We cannot fear knowledge or it will never come to us. Consider all the fear-mongering in history, even in the face of science. Libraries are a beacon of hope and freedom. They allow the public to choose what and where they learn. We should support the inclusion of all books in our libraries. E&M, a 2013 Steinert graduate, said, reading queer books have made me feel seen, loved, and connected to queer history. They have made me feel so happy and happy to be me. Queer books and books written by queer authors belong in libraries. Banning books is unethical to democracy. A Nottingham graduate said, I'm gay, I exist. I've been gay since the moment I existed. Hamilton has many LGBT students, whether they know it or not yet. Those students deserve to see themselves represented in school library media. I can clearly remember the first time I read a book that featured a gay character. I was a grown adult. I felt like my existence was finally validated within an art form I adored. Students deserve to feel validated from the moment they enter school. They shouldn't have to wait till adulthood. I'm a graduate of Hamilton Schools and a current school librarian in a nearby independent school. I'm embarrassed by what's happening in Hamilton right now and feel sorry for the LGBT students within the district who are being told by the Board of Ed that their existence makes them dirty, shameful, and perverse. The Hamilton Board of Ed would be better off spending their time. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Typically, we don't respond when questions or comments are made at this section. But I think based on the number of members of the public who have come forward with similar comments, we want to be clear here and in consultation with the president of the board here to let the public know, especially those who have come up and spoken here, that number one, the board has taken no such action of removing a book from any library in this district. All books are on the shelves at this time. If there is a challenge to a book, the policies that are set forth here and approved by this Board of Education will be withheld and will be followed. And so when that happens, we will deal with that and we will address that. And we are, and we have, yes, there. Well, it's a policy aligned to the state, correct. And so we will be doing that. So I just want to make clear that this board has not taken any action to do that. All the books are on the shelves in circulation at this time. And we will address as we get people that appeal that decision or want a book to be reviewed.
Mrs. Lombardo,
Stacy Burns.
while we're
No,
stopped.
we're not going to, no,
No, I
Dr.
just
Bernard,
want-
no.
Okay.
Stacy Burns. Sorry, but.
Good evening. It's Stacy Byrne. Thank you. For those of you who don't know me or on Zoom, I'm Stacy Byrne, and I ran for Hamilton School Board. I wish I could say that we have a certified vote. We're now 13 days past the election, and we're still counting votes. It's very disturbing, and quite honestly, people in Mercer County are losing any confidence they may have had in our election process. However, for the 9,944 people who voted for me, I want to say thank you. Thank you. And in case you're wondering why my message resonated with so many, I'll tell you. I am pro-child. I believe every student deserves a good quality education with books and materials that meet their maturation levels. I am pro-parental rights. Parents should have the final say when it comes to raising their children. They don't want to co-parent with the state. I am pro-teacher. As a retired home educator to my 9 children, I stand 110% behind the teachers. I know what it takes to educate children and just how hard it is. But we need to free our teachers from political posturing, pronoun discussions, and counseling sessions,
Excuse me,
and let them return.
excuse me, Ms. Berkeley. Can we please give her the respect
Thank you.
that she, there's no, okay. I heard him. I heard him. That's why I'm stopping it. I know, ma'am, that's why I stopped it and asked to give her respect. That's why I stopped it. Okay?
Thank you.
Go ahead,
Thank
Ms.
you.
Burns.
Thank you. We need to free our teachers from political posturing, pronoun discussions, and counseling sessions, and let them return to the classroom to teach reading, writing, and arithmetic. And that, quite frankly, is what I have heard directly from the teachers themselves. But they are too intimidated to stand here and say it, and I am saying it for them. I've heard from grandmothers who are upset because their grandchildren cannot spell or write their names in cursive. This is what we need to teach our young children. And finally, I have been very outspoken about the 2020 health standards, yes, because they trample on parental rights and they introduce a hypersexualized curriculum. I hope that this board, if you are considering a vote on the health agenda in this lame duck session, before potentially 2 new candidates are sworn in, will take into consideration the thousands of people in Hamilton who agree with our message. And finally, I want to say that I hope whoever is sworn in to serve this great community that we call Hamilton will serve with grace, dignity, and respect for all of our students and all of our residents. And lastly, I want to wish everyone here and all board members a happy and healthy holiday. Happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you. Okay, that brings us to the 20 minutes. We still have 18 people to go. Doing quick math, if we leave it as it is, that's an hour and a half. 3 minutes is an hour and 2 minutes is 36 minutes. So do we end it? Do I get a motion to extend? What are we doing?
I'll move to
I can't make it.
I'll move to extend.
Well, we have to clarify that.
3 minutes.
Second that?
So
You move
you're
that?
moving to amend.
I move that we extend it with people being allowed to speak for 3 minutes.
I'll second that.
Wow, Mr. Celentano, mark this day in history.
You're not kidding. Seriously, somebody put that down in writing.
She's
So
saying you both
where the
agree.
motion is to extend it, send it, everybody gets to speak 3 minutes and we go through the whole list. Is that the motion? Excuse me, is that the motion?
Yes.
Is that the motion?
That was our motion.
Yes.
Okay, can you call it, Ms. Atwood?
Aye.
I guess so.
Aye.
Okay.
Yes, I abstain. I abstain.
Daniela, Evelyn? I will. Oh, I know this, I'm gonna have to stop it at 3 minutes, even though it says 4.
I will try to.
I'll
make
do
it-
my best to stop it right at that. Okay, go ahead.
My name is Danielle Evelyn. I'm a parent of a 7th grader here at Crockett and a 2nd grader at Langtree. I'm here to express my frustration and anger regarding the recent work on the Crockett Middle School band room. The Crockett band teachers were instructed to clear their band room and store everything at the end of the last school year so that the floors could be redone over the summer. I don't know why, but the floors were not completed during the summer months as planned, so the band teachers then had to put everything back before school started in September. I've been told by multiple sources that multiple requests have been made to push this work to the winter break so as not to disrupt the students' concert preparations and classwork. On Monday, November 7th, the band teachers were given 3 hours notice that they had to clear the room again to get the work done during the school closures that week. The teachers frantically cleared the room and worked to find places to store the instruments, stands, music, and more. Once again, the work was supposed to be completed by the end of the week while the students were not there. The work was started but not completed. My sources are telling me that the Board of Education refused to pay for work to be completed on that Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, causing a major delay. I sincerely hope that this is not the case, but regardless, the students and teachers returned to school on Monday, the 14th, to find that the work was not done. In addition to not being completed, no protective tarps or plastic were placed over the cabinets and shelves, which had music books and sheet music stored on them, and they're now covered in a thick layer of dust from the carpets being ripped up. The students and teachers bounced from the cafeteria to the auditorium to the media center during their class times, but were unable to practice and prepare for upcoming concerts due to the constraints that they have from being in these areas. This went on for an entire week. Not only did this complete lack of planning displace the students and teachers, but it also affected their classwork and preparation. My son plays an instrument that cannot be brought home to practice, so this has caused him a lot of anxiety. The district constantly talks about wanting to improve retention practices, but in my opinion, this is not the way to do it. In addition to having a complete lack of respect for the teachers and putting the Crockett administration in a difficult spot with having to arrange places for the classes with no notice, this also put our students at a disadvantage. I know having construction projects completed in our schools is a large undertaking, but I believe that with some planning and scheduling, these projects can be completed in timely fashions without causing undue stress on our teachers and students and having our students' academic success put in jeopardy. The district administration might want to consider at least treating the teachers to lunch or something as an apology for being so disrespectful. I beg for you to do better in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. I don't know if it would fall under curriculum or Dr. Altabello or Katie, but can somebody look into that? Yeah, because
I sent it.
the board doesn't make that, we can't administer the district that way. I mean, we don't really have that much power to tell them to close the classroom and empty it, but we'll definitely look into it. That's the first I'm hearing of it. So thank you for bringing that forward. Okay, next we have Monica Quest.
Thank you. It's Monica Quaste from Hamilton
Sorry,
and
I say it wrong
I
every
know
time.
everybody does. That's quite all right. So I just want to thank everybody for being here tonight because we could all be somewhere else and we chose to be here because we love our town and we love our kids and being here is important. That being said, I really need to speak out to the hate that is coming out from people from miscommunication. We are not anti-LGBTQ. I have 2 gay children who I love dearly and who I have helped to conform and to feel respected and loved. And the books that Stacy had brought up on that were in contention were more about sex than they were relationships. And I think that what's important with these standards is that we value human life. All human life is important and all humans are created equal. And that's what we are promoting. We need to promote virtue and decrease vices. So it's important to build human relationships. And the LGBT community, at least my kids, were definitely at risk for being in promiscuous relationships. And it was not safe because they're doing things online. So they needed to be taught self-respect and how to learn how to be friends first and how to develop relationships, not just sex. And I think that's what was the problem. And even my own kids who saw the pornographic, images in those books didn't think that they were appropriate and thought that, there could be some, guidance on that. But anyway, so I just want to think that's really important to know that nobody on my campaign has anything but love for all children and anything but respect. And to slander is never okay. And to have a seat on the board and to be a public servant and to spread slander is not okay. So we should try to be better. And thank you. And I love you all for everything that you do, because I know first experience how difficult it is. It's not easy. And I just am very grateful for you all. Thank you.
Thank you. Janice Glonick.
Most appropriate topic. Okay, I went to the zoning board meeting last month. It started at 6. President announced right away, the meeting was running till 10 o'clock at night, unless it finished earlier. That gave everybody plenty of time to talk with no rush. The planning board has the same thing. Council is unlimited. They go until everybody's done. It felt like you and your opinion were respected. Here, the 20 minutes public session is totally unreasonable. It's like a rush deal. You want to get it over and done with. When voted to extend, it's like you're making a supreme sacrifice, and then you cut our time for speaking during the time of the extension. No offense, but you signed up for this job. Things changed. There used to be about 6 people that attended the meetings. Now there's like 40 or 60, but that's part of your job, just like teaching. The elementary school now have their aides gone. Half the teachers don't eat lunch anymore because they have to stay in the room to eat and work to prepare for the afternoon. We had a 4-hour autism test we had to fit in. We have to send reading and math grades in, which take extra time now. Night conferences, the teachers, you can't go home and come back in the same time. They stay through the whole time. So they're there from 8 to 8 at night. But you have to suck it up. That's part of your job. You guys went from 2 days of meeting to 2 days per month of meetings down to 1 day. So you picked up extra time and we lost time to speak. What we have to say should matter. Some people, I must say, have been very rude and disrespectful to you, and that is totally wrong. But we respectful ones should not be punished for what they do. Sincerely hope you go and change this 20 minutes to unlimited time. But if you need a limit, it should be 1 hour minimum with an option of extension. It makes it seem like you care what we have to say. And then as for Mrs. Kelly, sorry to see you go. I love always your enthusiasm when you talk about the retirees, adding the one time you add the months, the days, and practically the minutes. And at the end of the year, you total everything, and it makes it so enjoyable telling what they taught and where they taught. I sincerely hope you're training one of these people to follow in your footsteps to do the exact same thing.
Trained Miss Kelly.
And last, because nobody will be able to do it as well as you do, but try to get them, to kind of do what you do. And last, happy Thanksgiving to all of you. And in a way, you can be thankful you have people that come to these meetings to show that we care, so you're not talking to an empty room. Okay? And on the other hand, you can be thankful that you won't see us for a month. Happy Turkey Day.
Ms. Klonick, is that a turkey?
We still have Miss Kelly for 1 more month, so
Is that a
we could say
turkey?
goodbye to her again next month. And we do care. And I'm sorry if my attitude's been rough the last couple of months, but it's been rough. But if we change the policy, we can do things different. But if I ignore that policy, then I have to ignore every single policy we have, which means any policy. And then I'll have people saying you ignored that policy. So it's a policy. The township is totally different. They don't have a policy. I know you're not happy with that, but right now the policy that's in the district is the 20 minutes, 4 minutes per person. And if I say I'm going to ignore that tonight, then I have to ignore every policy. It would be every policy that a kid violates, we'd have to say we're going to ignore it today, but we're not going to ignore it tomorrow. So if the board decides or the next board decides that they want to change that policy to your hour or 3 hours or 6 hours, we'll sit here like that and listen. I know it seems like you think we don't listen. I think you know us though, that we do care, but it's been rough. It's been a rough few months because a lot of you guys don't know what we're thinking in our head, and we could be agreeing exactly what you're saying, but I can't say that. We have to be impartial up here. So I apologize if it seems that way, but we do care. And I can't ignore policy. That's just the position I'm in. And anybody that sits in these chairs, you'll know that that's the position you're going to be in too. Whether you like it or not, you're going to be the next one to be yelled at. So get your armor on. Okay, Nikki Graham.
Hi, thank you for this opportunity to speak. I'm Nikki Graham. I own a business in Hamilton. I'm a Hamilton resident for many years and have 3 graduates of the Hamilton Township School District, very proud Nottingham grads. And I just wanted to start by mentioning a quote by one of my heroes, Kurt Vonnegut, who said, on the subject of burning books, I want to congratulate librarians, not famous for their physical strength or their powerful political connections or their great wealth, who all over this country have staunchly resisted anti-democratic bullies who've tried to remove certain books from their shelves and have refused to reveal to thought police the names of persons who have checked out these titles. So the America I still love still exists, if not in the White House or the Supreme Court or the Senate or the House of Representatives or the media. The America I love still exists at the front desks of our public libraries. And I know we have some librarians here, and I want to thank you for being the first defense for our students. So I want to read a comment that Avery O, who is a future 2026 Nottingham graduate, said. Avery said, teaches me diversity and acceptance, categorizing LGBTQ plus issues as pornography is dangerous misinformation that marginalizes human beings for no good reason. And I think there is a lot of discussion about pornography and what it entails. And I think that he's right on the mark. I'm going to yield now because I don't think I have enough time to get through the next one, but thank you very much.
Thank you. Bill Falcone.
Hi, my name is Bill Falconio from Yorkville. Just a couple observations. I've been to 4 of these school board meetings so far. And some of the things I heard, it's hard to believe what's going on in Hamilton. First of all, I remember one woman in Langtree was complaining, you people don't answer any questions. You just sit there stone-faced. And the lawyer here said he was, they were trained by the NJEA. And they don't have to answer any questions. Who do you work for? You NJEA or the Hamilton taxpayers here? And one of the board members here was saying she read Flamers, it's one of the books, and it was a wonderful journey. Well, I happened to page through it in one of the meetings we had at the ministry, and it shows sex acts for kids. They had little cartoons of sex acts. That's child porn. I mean, you should be sued. NJEA should be sued. It's against federal law. Other than that, that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Rika Rubin.
Hello, my name is Rika Rubin. I live in Hamilton with my husband and 2 kids. One is graduated from the Hamilton school system and the other is currently a junior at West. I'm here to talk about something I never thought I would have to discuss, especially here in Hamilton: censorship. As the parent of 2 LGBTQ people, I want to reiterate how important LGBTQ representation is. And as a person who has been in publishing for over 30 years, my entire career, I would like to verify that the American Library Association list of the 10 most challenged books is not meant as a blueprint for censorship. That list is meant to educate people who may not be aware of the level of censorship that is happening in public schools and libraries in this country. And I don't believe it's a coincidence that many of the books on that list are LGBTQ. Representation matters. When marginalized kids can't see themselves, they are made to feel lesser, like they don't matter, like they're invisible. It can even lead to violence like what happened in Colorado this week. The least we can do is to have LGBTQ books, including the 2 highly acclaimed and award-winning books that have been challenged, Genderqueer and Flamer, available in our school libraries for students should they choose to read them. I would like to address these 2 books for a second. Genderqueer is an American Library Association Alex Award winner, a Stonewall Israel Fishman Nonfiction Award honor book, and has gotten starred reviews from School Library Journal, a periodical that specifically evaluates books for school libraries. Flamer has 5-starred reviews. Starred reviews are really rare. And when we get them, like at work, we get incredibly excited. To have 2 is amazing. To have 5, I never had a book have 5-starred reviews before. The most I've had is 3. 5-starred reviews from organizations like Kirkus, who are tough nuts, Booklist, School Library Journal, Shelf Awareness, and the Horn Book is incredible. And it is a signal that these books do belong in our schools. We should be doing more. We should have more LGBTQ books in our curriculum. We should have LGBTQ authors come in to speak to our students. Having LGBTQ books available for kids to read as they wish is the least we can do, the very least we can do. Thank you.
Thank you. Vay Ruben. Sorry if I pronounced that wrong.
Good evening, Board of Education members. I'm Vay Rubin, current Hamilton Township resident and junior at Hamilton High West School. In the past couple months, one of the most widely debated topics nationwide has been the act of banning certain books from public school libraries. While the proposal to ban certain books isn't a new concept, there has been a recent resurgence in deeming certain books to be too inappropriate for school libraries to carry. However, most of these books up for debate tend to be focused around LGBTQ+ representation and showing what discrimination can look like against these minority groups. I would like to personally explain from my perspective why it is important to protect these certain books from getting unjustly removed. Despite personal debates, we can all agree how important it is for children of all ages to feel seen and represented by the daily medias they consume. It is in our human nature to be curious about the world around us, and our adolescence is especially a prime age of self-exploration. Schools should be able to nurture these natural curiosities by providing all sorts of knowledge about the many different perspectives of humanity, not limiting them based off of the perspectives they see. Given the ever-expanding fields of resources we are fortunate enough to have access to, we should not be trying to shield knowledge or pass on the curse of ignorance down to the next generation. We should encourage this curiosity. One of the most important reasons why we teach subjects like history in the first place is so we can talk about the past and so we don't make the same mistakes in the present. There is no point in trying to hide certain aspects of the world if this will be the generation to hold it. This is not an act of trying to brainwash kids into leftist ideologies. This is about giving all the knowledge and tools that we have and letting them decide what to do with them. This is the same way we're able to learn about different religions and cultures without any force to convert. Learning about all parts of the world matters, and we shouldn't try to pretend like it doesn't. So please protect our books and protect our voices. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Audrey Rubin. Whole family's here.
Hello, my name is Audrey Rubin, and I'm a recent graduate from Hamilton High School West, class of 2020. And I'm speaking today on the importance of LGBTQ representation and why it needs to be taught. One thing about me is that I am queer, I always have been queer, and I always will be queer, and nothing will change that. People and teachers and talking about LGBTQ representation in schools did not make me queer, and it doesn't make other people queer. It doesn't brainwash kids into being queer. They always have been that way, and they always will be that way. And not talking about us or teaching about our community will not erase us from existing, and it will only lead to ignorance. And not educating students about the community will make students like me who are a part of the community feel isolated and alone and not heard. And it leaves people who are not a part of the community uneducated and can lead to horrible tragedies like the one that happened in Colorado. One concern I hear about educating students about the LGBTQ community is that teachers are teaching students about masturbation or sex, which is inherently false, and as talking about a woman who loves other women or talking about men who loves other men is not inherently sexual, just like women loving men is not inherently sexual, and it should not be treated as such. And LGBTQ topics in school should not be treated as inherently sexual and inherently demonized. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Madison Soma.
Hi, I'm Madison Soma, and I'm currently a student at Steiner High School. I just wanted to bring up how that us especially challenged or people that go through things, and I just wanted to bring up that how I emailed the Board of Education. Hi, Dr. Acone. Hi, Adabella. How are you doing today? I emailed them that I wanted to have an important face-to-face meeting or over Zoom, whatever is their best reference. And yeah, it is November, 21st of 8 o'clock, pushing 8 o'clock now. I still have not getting a response. And I feel as though I've been shut out. I've been labelized since my starting of high school of 9th grade at Hamilton High West. We'll always rep Hamilton High West, and we'll always forever stand behind Hamilton High West. Currently, I go to Steiner, and I just feel as though I just don't belong. I just don't belong, in Steiner. I just wanted to ask you guys if you actually can take in consideration of having a meeting and have it belief in your hearts that you can actually believe in me after labelizing me in 9th grade as emotionally disabled. Thank you.
Dawn Soma.
Hi, I'm Dawn Soma. I'm a current resident, 61 Juniper Way, and I'm going to pass because my daughter was heard, so I'll let somebody else take the mic. Thank you.
Thank you. Lisa Lankowski.
Hello, good evening. Lisa Lankowski, Hamilton resident, mom of a son over at West. This evening, we have heard from a lot of these comments that I'm also going to be reading from. We also just heard from a Board of Ed candidate that said that, very pro teacher, very pro kids in the school. And yet some of these candidates wanted LGBTQ signage removed from schools. Just was mentioned about taking away pronoun discussions, counseling, called teachers groomers. Not necessarily this candidate, but other ones have. So yeah, it has been extremely anti-LGBT for months. For those that are looking to ban books, I would like to point out Flowers in the Attic, which was published in 1979. And it is a story, a lovely story about children that are locked in an attic based upon their very religious grandmother. And it proceeds into incest between the 4 kids. And it's really interesting. And I remember reading that as a young adolescent, and I'm not involved in any incest behavior today. So very impressive for me. When we only look to ban books that are just LGBT, that sends a message. Take a look at a lot of other books. There's some crazy stuff out there, but it's all about learning, and it's all about sitting there and finding out who you are and what you're going to do. And I got news for you. If my parents had seen, my very religious parents had seen that I had read Flowers in the Attic, I went to Catholic school, they would have allowed it in the house. But yet it came into my home and I was able to read it, right? Because I was an adolescent and these are the things that we do. And to the point, there's a lot worse stuff on our phones, that is for sure. Anyway, I'm going to quickly read from Jeffrey, a 2008 Hamilton Township graduate. Understanding people who may be different than you or have a different background than you is a core tenet of what makes this country special, let alone what makes us a good human being. LGBTQ plus representation allows for understanding something that you may have experienced firsthand. And reading is a fundamental pathway to understanding. It also allows people who have had those experiences to share them in a way that might help others in similar situations, as well as allow people who may feel alone and unheard to recognize that they are not alone. How dare you try to control access to books? This is not a Nazi regime. You should be ashamed of yourselves. If the only way that you can get someone to accept your point of view is by preventing someone from ever knowing about any other point of view, then your view is weak and your argument is fallacious. It is disgusting and
Lankowski.
abhorrent that I even have to
Lankowski.
fill out a petition about this in 2022. Thank you so much, and
Thank you.
I appreciate your time.
Thank you. Mike Fiello? I always get this name wrong and it's been years. I always say your last name wrong.
You have to make it smaller when you're done. I was hoping I'd follow Janice. Really have a mic difference here.
Mhm.
Hello, my name is Michael D'Elia. I'm the studio manager of HTV. I was born and raised in Hamilton. I'm a product of the Hamilton School District. I chose to raise my two boys in Hamilton. They are also a product of the Hamilton Township School District. So I have quite a lot of investment in this town and in these schools. I came here tonight to the mic to express how dismayed and distressed I have been and am at so much of the anti-trans, anti-gay rhetoric that has been expressed at this microphone over the last number of months. So I want to be very clear how at least one parent and one employee stands. I'm 100% in support of any curriculum that in some small way teaches respect and understanding of gay and trans kids and other queer identifying kids. I am 100% in support of any curriculum that helps to create an environment in which gay, trans, and other queer identifying kids feel supported and that they belong. Because the fact is, right now, gay and trans kids in this state and across the country are being demonized, bullied, harassed, marginalized, and are experiencing negative mental health outcomes at an alarmingly higher rate than their peers. When gay, trans, and other queer kids do not receive the support that they need to feel like they are normal and that they belong, all of those negative and hurtful outcomes are the inevitable result. A choice is very simple for all of us. We can help to create an environment in which gay and trans kids feel supported, feel normal, feel respected, and feel like they belong, or we can do the opposite. That's the choice. Study after study after study has shown again and again and again, when we create an environment where gay, trans, and other queer kids feel seen and respected and supported and accepted and feel like they belong, they live healthier and happier lives, just like anybody would. They're normal kids. And when we accept them as normal kids and give them the support that they need, they thrive. But when we talk about gay and trans people as if they are not normal, when we allow an environment to continue to exist in which gay and trans kids are not supported, where they are not seen, where they are not respected, then it is no surprise that negative outcomes follow. We can help gay and trans kids to thrive, or we can continue to let them be hurt. That is the choice, and there is no middle ground. So as the adults in the room, let's be allies to these kids. Let's give them everything they need to thrive, and let's support any curriculum that helps them to achieve that goal. Thank you. Thank you, board, for everything that you
Thank you.
do, and thank you, administration.
Next, we have Jeff Cooper.
Just about perfect height. Hi, I'm Jeff Cooper. I'm a Hamilton resident. I'm Stina. I live on the same street. I am a bald white male, as you can all see. I have, yes, sorry. I'll rephrase my joke. I'm a bald white male, as you can all see. I have no family members in the LGBTQ community. I have not been in the public school system for over a decade. And I have no children. So by all accounts, I should be having a much better night at home with my girlfriend than being here. But this is important that everybody should feel seen and represented. So instead I'm here. I also realize everyone else is tired and other people will be able to read better than I can. So I will yield the rest of my time to the next speaker. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is John Fisher.
Hello, sorry about the bad handwriting. It made it hard to read my name. A lot of people here tonight have made a lot of great points, and I will be as short as possible. Last two meetings, to this meeting and the last meeting, there have been multiple people who have compared certain books in our libraries to child pornography, or just outright said that they are child pornography. This is all information I compiled in the 5 minutes before the meeting started. The book Gender Queer was published on May 28th, 2019 by Oni Press, which is at 1319 Southeast Martin Luther King Boulevard, Suite 240, Portland, Oregon. Flamer was published in September 1st, 2020 by Henry Holt and Company Incorporated at 120 Broadway, New York, New York. These two books can be bought on Amazon, which is headquartered at 410 Terry Avenue, North Seattle, Washington. Why am I bringing this information up? Because the federal law against the distribution of child pornography is something that you can bring up to the FBI at the tips.fbi.gov. It would be very simple to bring that there and not to the local school board, who have nothing to do with the publishing of these books. But I would note that the federal statute against defamation is US Section 28-4101, also Googled right before the meeting. So be careful before you do defame a nationally published publishing company. Anyway, I will see the rest of my time. Just wanted to try and save the board some time next time. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Caroline. I'm sorry, it starts with an A. Eric, I can't pronounce the last name. Eric, can you read that? It's been a long night. I'm sorry. I'm trying to read it.
Caroline Arasano.
Arasano? Good. Sorry.
Challenge.
You can.
My name
wanna
is
lower it?
Carolyn Aversano. I
You guys know
am
how to
a
lower it?
mostly lifetime resident.
I'm going to start the, wait, I won't start it yet.
Okay. Thank you.
Better?
My name is Carolyn Aversano.
Just come a little bit closer to the mic so we can hear you.
I'm an almost lifetime resident of Hamilton. I am a professional librarian specializing in teen services. And I'm going to let the statements of students and alumni do the work for me now. Dr. Charles M. said, LGBTQ representation in books has positively impacted me by showing the many diverse ways we can understand and celebrate our humanity. The high school library is a place where a diversity of ideas come together in order for students to learn to think critically and become part of the broader world of ideas and connection with fellow humans. To stop the process in any way is a disservice to the students, to education, and to democracy itself. Chelsea P., a 2011 Nottingham graduate, said, LGBTQ+ representation has positively impacted me by allowing me to gain perspective about the students I serve. It highlights their experiences while also showing that LGBTQ folks are in many ways similar to their heterosexual counterparts. Excluding LGBTQ+ narrative is oppressive and sends the message that an aspect of their identity should be something they are ashamed of. Keeping books on the shelf that highlight different identities allows students to identify with something. The comfort of seeing yourself in a book is something all students should have access to. LGBTQ+ books are not pornography and should not be sexualized as a way to weaponize ignorance. Becky, a 2010 Nottingham graduate, said, "As a teacher, students of all identities need to be seen and included in the books they read. Diverse reading materials give students an understanding of different backgrounds that they might not know about and help them walk a mile in someone else's shoes. When we learn more about others, we look on them with kindness, acceptance, and love instead of hate and disdain. Banning books is disgraceful and limits free-thinking minds. Without representation of all backgrounds, we limit free thought, which is the epitome of being anti-American." Christina S., a 1985 Steiner graduate, said, "It's informed my worldview and made me less bigoted. It's helped me to have more compassion for myself and others who are outsiders in society. It probably has saved the lives of some of my closest friends." Thank you for your time.
Elia? Aaliyah? Am I saying it wrong? Elliot is the last name? I'm sorry. Did I really bash that? I'm sorry, the handwriting is a little hard.
No, the name is unusual. Good evening. My name is Eva Dzidzic Elliott. I'm the president of New Jersey Association of School Librarians and JASL. My association provides support to school librarians faced with the book challenges across the state. We are here today to affirm our stand against censorship in public schools in New Jersey. We applaud the Hamilton Township School District's administrators and the board members who follow the steps of district's policies, namely the policy number 2530, resources materials, and 9130, public complaints and grievances. Thank you for your clarification that there is no official book challenge, but the proposal of requiring parental permission for accessing explicit materials is very concerning. Looking at some legal precedents is helpful. Number one, Scotts Island Trees School District versus PICO limits the power of school district officials to remove books from school libraries because of their content. PICO also establishes school libraries as places of voluntary inquiry and affairs. Students have First Amendment protections for accessing materials. And example number two, U.S. Court of Appeals, Counts versus Cedarville School Districts in Western District of Arizona, ruled it is unconstitutional for a school district to require parental permission when checking out books from the school library. And in that case, they were talking about Harry Potter. We also wanted to bring to everyone's attention the fact that Media Center School Library specialists select their materials to support the New Jersey state requirements, such as LGBTQ bill from 2019, Diversity and Inclusion in Curriculum Bill from 2021, SEL, Social Emotional Learning Competencies approved by School Board of Education in August 2017. Furthermore, CUSAC requires all schools in New Jersey be compliant and include education on topics addressing the Holocaust, Amstead, and LGBTQ. Let me say that one more time. School library materials are supplementary materials and are selected for the purpose to support state mandates. In addition, we wish to remind everyone of the Board of Ethics responsibilities outlined in NJSA 18A, point A, B, and C, and the Code of Ethics for the school board members. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Chanel Vickers. One more after that.
Chanel Vickers, a longtime Hamilton resident. I applaud you for clarifying your justification on the books. Just wanted to say that. So, no disrespect to any parent in the audience, but the internet is real. Okay, I have a kid in all three levels of the school district. And if you're not monitoring your kids, they're reading anything pornographic in your bedrooms, in your house. Just wanted to put that out there, okay? So removing the books from our schools, this is bonkers. I don't understand why we're doing this. We have elderly people in our town who are complaining about the high rate taxes. I know because my grandmother is paying taxes that I have to help her pay because she can't afford them. But we're worried about removing books in high schools where half of these high schoolers already know what pornographic things are, because we start teaching body odor and things like that in elementary. And then it goes above that. So do your homework, read the goonnj.com, read the curriculum the way New Jersey sends it down, please, and stop with the shenanigans. Let's get this done. Let's move forward. Be done with it. Pornographic is not for school. I read Flamer. My daughter read Flamer. If you thought it was pornographic, you wanted to think it was pornographic. It was two kids joking around with whatever was hot dog on a stick. Woohoo! Things happen. They're boys. They act immature. They play around. Things happen. Boys learn different than girls. We all know that. And if you're not sure about it, have one. Trust me, I know I got two. They definitely think different, okay? And let's worry about getting the property tax value down for our elders. That's a little bit more important, especially since majority of them don't even have kids that still go to school in the district. That's what we need to worry about.
Thank you. Fran Carroll.
Thank you, Fran Carroll. I just wanted to point out and remind everyone, especially in the wake of the latest horrific mass shooting in Colorado that appears driven by hate against the LGBTQ community, that words matter. Rhetoric matters. Discussing of policies that starts with something that seems like small, like banning some books related to LGBTQ in our schools, related to a health curriculum that is inclusive, that people are against because of its inclusivity, regarding gender identities. Just discussing, as is before this board, potential policies related to requiring parental permission to take books out of the library. It matters. It can lead to violence. You don't think that it does. You don't think what we're talking here tonight can lead to violence, but it can have deadly consequences. The violence against the LGBT community across this country is skyrocketing and is higher than for the general population. That's just a fact. But I would also like to talk about, since this has been talked about a lot tonight, I want to talk about the board's policy related to public comments. And I would like to, I'm a parent, I'm a resident, I would like to formally ask that this board revisit its current policy, allowing only 20 minutes, at 4 minutes. We are one of the 10 largest municipalities by population in the state of New Jersey. And basically your current policy, if everyone uses the 4 minutes, allows what? 5 people to speak. That's when you hit the quota tonight. 5 minutes, and then it's okay. We do feel like you are doing us a favor by agreeing to hear us longer, and it's a little bit offensive. I was former newspaper reporter, worked for nearly a decade, back when people still read newspapers and reporters covered meetings. I've covered for a decade professionally, every single, planning board, zoning board, school boards, for a daily newspaper, and I have never at any body, county commissioners, town committee meetings, all throughout Middlesex County primarily, but I have never heard anyone have a policy as draconian as the Hamilton Board of Education in terms of limiting public speech. And that matters, because when you look at the topics and say, okay, everybody's speaking on the same thing, it's all LGBTQ, you are lumping all those voices in together as if they're all going to say the same thing, and as if it's not important to hear the different voices. And I'm sorry, your board members, you signed up for this. It's your job. You may not like it. You may want to get out of here by 8 or 9 o'clock. Sorry, too bad. If you don't like it, you shouldn't be on the board.
Okay, listen,
I hope you revisit it.
I'm going to address that. I said it's all on the same topic, but there was something about a school band. Those topics are important too. I was not going to cut anybody off. I'm going to let Patrick, our attorney, explain to you about a policy that's in every school district in the United States. It's not just Hamilton Township School District. We are not like the Hamilton Township Council. We're not like the planning board. It's different. It's extremely different. And to say that we don't care and we want to get out of here at 8 o'clock is very disrespectful to us, because not one of us sit up here and say, hurry up, get done, because we want to leave. We follow the rule and the policy. You might not like the policy. A few years back, the policy was 3 minutes for 20 minutes because we had 2 people in the audience. And you might not like this either, but, and Mrs. Lankowski and Mrs. Glonick, who have been here before, unless it's a hot topic like it is right now, we have 1 person sit here. And there was no need to extend anything. We would sit here alone. We would talk to the wall. And then a hot topic comes up and we have a few months of this. Then an election come up and we have a few months of this. Then it goes back to 2 people. But we sit through it. We care. Every one of us cares. We care about your topic. We care about everybody's topic. And we're up here and we have to have open minds and think both sides. No book has been removed. I don't even know how this is out there, that this is such a big deal. We
But
did
it's
not,
being reviewed. That's why people are concerned.
it's not under,
Is it
nothing
not?
has been, the book is in the libraries. If it was in a library before, it's there as we speak. Am I correct?
Is it
It's
not
not
being reviewed
removed.
because a challenge was
It's not
filed?
removed though, even though it's
That's
being
not what I'd
reviewed.
asked. That's not what I asked you, ma'am.
There is a challenge for that book. It is in the library according to the policy, and it will remain there throughout the review according to the policy.
With all
But the
due respect,
review-
people would like to speak on that before a decision is made. If it's removed, it would be too late.
But the review is, we're following the process of a review. If
understand
we
that.
have it challenged, we have to follow the law that follows that. Any school district has to. It's not something that the board said, oh, let's just, that we got a review, let's just do this and pull it out of every school.
Oh, completely
I understand your
understood, but the
frustration,
public wants to be
But please
heard
don't
on
say
it.
that we don't care and we're rushing you out of here, because
Well, I have a
we
question
aren't.
based on what you said. Is not the policy you currently have, is that set by the Hamilton Board of Ed? Did you guys set that policy, or is this
We
something
set the
coming from on
time,
high?
Right, Patrick? We
I'm
set
sorry?
the time. We don't set the pot. Can you explain that? Go ahead. I'm not going to keep going back and forth, but go ahead and finish it. Yeah.
It's not a discussion.
Yeah. Okay, are you gonna explain
Yeah,
the
I will.
policy?
It's not a discussion.
You're good. You can sit down. We're just going to explain the policy.
I look forward to speaking with each and every one of you about this further.
Sit down. You should have signed up or write an email. Go try and check it out if you want to know. Go
So,
ahead, Patrick.
One of the things, and this is probably going to be unpopular opinion, but the reality is this. So every district in New Jersey is empowered to set limits on the terms of public comment, because this is a meeting for the Board of Education to take action on a lot of items that they've put a lot of work in before we get here. And so all boards, or at least most boards throughout the state, do put those limits in place. And so the representation that this is the only place that's like this, it's not accurate. Princeton Public Schools in this county is 15 minutes before the agenda items and 15 minutes on school-related matters. And in their agenda, it actually says they will not discuss anything with you. It literally says it in the agenda that they put out there every single month. Robbinsville Board of Education is 20 minutes and 20 minutes. Multiple districts throughout the state have set various timelines that are all around 15 to 20 minutes, sometimes a half hour. It depends. The districts that have the 30-minute timelines and greater tend to be the districts where no one is speaking anyway. And most of these places limit it to 3 minutes. Princeton is 3 minutes, Robbinsville is 3 minutes, this district is 4 minutes. So it's all varied, but there are limitations on it because things have to get accomplished and done. And it is not necessarily that you are without an ability to address your issues, because this is a big issue in all districts, that there are multiple levels to go through before you get here. Most issues are supposed to be resolved at the lowest possible level. So that would be at the teacher level, followed by the principal level, followed by the director level, then the superintendent, then the Board of Education in this district. And the reality is that the vast majority of people that come to board meetings have not gone through those channels first. And so a big reason why everyone is trained by NJSBA, as well as board attorneys, when they do lectures on this issue, not to answer questions, is because there needs to be appropriate vetting of those issues. Did the person that's coming up here complaining about whatever issue go through all those levels? What was the response at every one of those levels? And was it a good response based upon good information, or was it not? So that's why the system works this way. And I know, again, people want to come up and they want to say things as long as they want for the one meeting that they attended or for the 3 in a row that they've attended. But everyone here is attending every single month, and not just this meeting tonight, but doing a lot of due diligence before they get there, because those agenda items don't just manifest themselves on the agenda. They go through lots and lots of work beforehand that's put into this that you don't see. And it is very important work, and it's what's reported on the committee reports. And so again, this is not to say that the board doesn't want to hear from anybody. It does. It's just that a lot of times what is presented at these meetings is not on issues that are actually happening, or issues that haven't been presented through the levels beforehand. And again, the representation that it's some type of anomaly in the state, it's just not. You can look at board policies throughout the state, and they have various limitations on public comment.
Okay, well, with that, I wish everyone a happy holiday, and can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Everybody that signed up, yes.
Second.
Motion to adjourn?
So motion and second, yeah.
Aye.
Happy holidays, everyone.